My name is Jesper Birch Jensen, and I work as an analyst here at ABG, where I follow companies like Safeture. And with us today, we have the Safeture CFO, Lena Canivier, and CEO Magnus Hultman, who's going to tell us all about Safeture and their exciting plans for the future.
Perfect.
Please go ahead.
Thank you very much. So hi, everyone. I'm Magnus. I'm the newly appointed CEO of Safeture. So I just joined here about 4 months ago. And before this, I've been the CEO and engaged in 4 different startups. I was nominated the Entrepreneur of the Year here in Sweden last year. And my last company called Strossel, it was just awarded the fastest growing tech company in Europe for Deloitte Fast 500. We grew the company with over 19,000% in 4 years. So that was in the media industry, a very exciting industry, but quite a tough one. So I decided to find a new industry and decided to go for security. So here I am. And with me, I have Linda, who is my CFO and also fresh on the job. So we're 2 new guys in a public environment. So bear with us. Perfect. So Safeture, actually, it was called GWS Production before, and that was Global Warning System. That was the previous name of the company. But then Greta Thunberg came along, and everyone started calling us Global Warming System. So we needed to change name. So that's why we have Safeture. Let's pick this up. So I'm going to talk to you guys today about how to win a category. And that is quite some task that we have ahead of us. But I'm going to try to define what it is and explain how we're going to win this category. What we offer is an employee safety platform. It's duty of care for demanding customers globally. So what do? Well, instead of me telling you what we do, I decided to let someone else explain it for you.
At IKEA, we are curious people and many of us travel. Visiting and working in new places can be challenging, but we now have access to tools and services that make travel easier, safer and more fun. The Safeture Pro app and Falk Global Assistance Service. As a business traveler, you will get 24/7 support for all parts of your journey during planning, when you are on the way and while you are at the destination. The app is actually very useful. Like, instead of spending hours waiting for a delayed departure, you can have a better and more productive day somewhere else, thanks to the alerts and notifications function. Once you have arrived to your destination, you can easily share your location. It enables the Falk Global Assistance Service to see where you are and to reach out with information that could be vital for you. Like if there is something going on that would be smart to avoid. Sometimes it can be hard to follow the local news. And if something dangerous happens where you are, the warnings function will alert you. Travel is usually very safe, but just like at home, stuff happens. It is sometimes just harder to deal with incidents when you are away. Minor car accidents or non-emergency visits to a doctor are the most frequent issues for IKEA travelers. And the most common reason to visit a doctor while on a business trip is just catching a cold. Now, even if you are informed and prepared, you might end up in a really sticky situation where you need assistance. Well, now you have access to assistance at all times. The contact information is on your Falk Global Assistance card. And you can call or email Falk before or during travel for any medical or safety related matter. And in case of emergency, the Safeture app SOS button will connect you to Falk, and the app will provide them with information on where you are. Life is an adventure. Travel and visiting new places should be fun. And with the right preparations, it will be an even better experience. So download the app and carry the card with you at all times. It is actually very small. Be prepared, and remember, it is not always cold in Sweden. It all starts with you. Safe travels.
Crystal clear? There we go. So, behind that video and behind that easiness of using our services, there is a massive complexity. There is 9 years of engineering and development in this company. This is what you see here. This is the platform integrated with HR system and travel booking systems and many other things. And there's also several patents within positioning and usability of the service. So this is a way of building up those barriers of entry for the company. And what we want to do is to have a person working in a company feeling my employer takes care of me. There is someone looking after me and my safety, because I am the most important part of a company's balance sheet. Not the machines, not the facilities, but the people. And that's the position we want. And that's the category we are looking for. And we're going to win. So, when I joined this company, I did my own due diligence, like many of you might be doing right now. And I looked at a couple of numbers for the company. So the turnover 2018 was 13 million. Swedish crowns, actually. It's 13 million Swedish crowns. They have 32 employees, but they have a recurring revenue of more than 90%. So most of those 13 millions will follow next year. They have a churn of less than 1%, which indicates they have really, really happy customers. They have users in 170 countries, so pretty much all over the world, and 2,400 customers. You know, they have built 2,400 customers and have a revenue of 13 million. When I look at that, I get so provoked. I mean, it's like, what have they been doing in this company? Because all these numbers show something really, really nice. There is a unpolished gem waiting to be polished. And on top of that, very happy customers. So this due diligence made me think, okay, what is the market then? Well, the target was international business travelers in Europe and North America. You know, that's €500 million. And that's fine. But is it really those business travelers that's the market? Shouldn't it be employees? Because how it looks like today is that you have invested so much money as a company in security cameras and sliding doors and systems for access control and much, much more. And then you go into the office and only half of the workforce is there. Because the rest of them, they're out selling, they're away on training or working from home. Every week, just here in Sweden, a person works 12 hours a week from home. Globally, 70% of white-collar workers work out of the office at least one day a week. So there is a market potential. And the market potential, that is employees. So employee safety for enterprise customers, we estimate between 6 and 8 billion euros. So my first task coming to this company was to look at where we want to go. I mean, that's my job. And I found these 5 areas that I'm looking into and setting a plan together with Linda and together with the rest of the company. The first one is that we need to go from being an IT company to a software as a service company, because all the numbers are there in order for it to be a software as a service company. Now it's an organizational thing that needs to come in place. And what I mean with IT company is that if you have a customer and we say that we offer them this, and the customer says, yeah, that's good. Can we have this as well? And the engineers will say, yeah, we can build that. But in order to scale, you need to package it really, really tightly. You can't do customization. It needs to be a well-packaged product that is pretty much served in the same way to customers. That is a software as a service company. Second area is sales. Today we have field sales guys in a couple of offices around Europe, and that is great. But if you have a truly nicely packaged service, that also means that you can use other channels, like online sales. And that is something that we will start rolling out here in the coming future. Integration partners, that is a way for us to have additional sales resources. It's not us that should do all the work for the customers. It could be consultancy firm, it could be assistance companies, security providers, and others that's in our ecosystem. And several of them we have signed up as integration partners already. And there will be more exciting news here going forward. And then account management. Remember, 2,400 customers, and the average number of users for these 2,400 customers is 21 users. IKEA has a couple of thousand, and they are happy. So happy that they did their own movie. I would like to have that with all these other companies. And this is truly big global corporations on our customer list. So account management is a critical part. We haven't had it before, and now we're investing heavily in it. Marketing. Well, I am from the media industry, and we are going from a push marketing world to a pull marketing world. Push marketing means that me as a company, I'm presenting to you what I want to sell. It's what I would like you to hear. But in a pull marketing world, it's not about what I would like to say. It's about what you want to hear, right? And that is a fundamental shift that is changing everything right now. It changes how advertising is being carried out. We are in a pull marketing society. We work with something called content marketing and native advertising. It's about sharing our knowledge to users out there to find it, get it, and then get in touch with us. It broadens our way of finding customers. It also hands it over to the customer to actually make the decision. Because I tell my sales guys that when you have an incoming sales call, that is the worst thing that could ever happen. Because what they have done is they have researched all knowledge there is in the world on the internet and so on, and came up to that, yeah, I would like to speak to this company. They just need one piece of fact that is not available. And that is the price. That's what they call us, because I already made up the decision. They just want the price. You can't do anything. You can't tell them that this is fantastic, you can do this and that with the platform and so on, because they already made up their mind. And that means that my sales guys, they are just living price books that breathes, and I can fire them. And I don't want to do that. So it's about sharing your knowledge and having them understand why they should use the platform the way we want. We are the experts. Development. We need to be an open platform with an ecosystem of providers, because I have the fantastic developers in the company, but we can't solve everything for the customers. There are many other companies out there that do incredible things. Why not embrace them? Bring them into our ecosystem. Let them be a part of the platform we are building, because there are truly cool companies out there. And if we all be out there chasing and saying we can build this and build that, it's hard to scale. And this is about scaling. Final part is data-driven decision-making. Well, I like those KPIs. It's called the TLAs, the three-letter acronyms The monthly recurring revenue, that's how this company stacks up. It's not the revenue for the year, it's how much monthly recurring revenue we have. That's the most important metric for this company. The ARPU is how much we make from each user of the company. Fantastic indication of where we're going, and especially for our account management team. The WOW, the weekly average usage, is how popular our apps and our portal is. We easily measure that, and we know exactly how much they actually use it. And that is a sign of how appreciated the service is. The CAC, that is the cost, the customer acquisition cost. And if we can find that and know that, then it's easy to understand how much money we need to pour in, how much money that will actually come out. And the lifetime value of the customers we have, how long we sign them up for, and how the churn is, etc. These are software as a service metrics. Very important when analyzing this type of company. So with this said, Linda, my new CFO, and here we go.
Thank you, Magnus. So I joined the company September 1st, so I'm soon about to finalize my first 100 days. And I would like to start off this presentation, or my part of the presentation, by highlighting 4 elements that I see as the most critical elements from a CFO perspective. And I will actually repeat again what Magnus just mentioned, the MRR, the monthly recurring revenue numbers. It's fantastic to join a company as a CFO where you have a reliable, recurring revenue stream every month, every quarter, every year, especially with the long-term contracts that we have with our clients and the relatively low churn in the company. Of course, it makes the cash flow planning and the investment planning much easier when you know next year I'm going to at least have this kind of revenue. But also, when you look at the money you put and invest in sales, you know that the sales investment can be almost 100% focused on increasing that MRR level, either by increasing the revenue by client, by building on existing business, or chasing for new clients. So the return on investment on your sales team is great. Secondly is the scalability potential of the company. Coming from the mobile phone hardware business, I know for a fact how hard it is to work with production and factory capacity, component availability. Here I would say at Safeture, we're not that really affected by external factors when it comes to scaling up our business. There are 3 things we need to consider though. We need to be able to handle inflow of customer questions, support function. We also need to make sure that our IT infrastructure is in place so that we can scale up our IT system when we grow our business. And finally, we also need to make sure that we have a SaaS organization in place that Magnus just mentioned, where we can actually onboard our clients cost efficiently and quickly. Moving over to gross margins. Right now, we have good gross margins in our company. It's about 60% gross margin on sales. But if you analyze and dig down into those numbers, you can see that 10% of that is actually the true variable cost connected to sales, which means that as we intend to grow our installed base of clients, the gross margin will continue increasing. And I would say in 3 years' time, we will be very close to 90% gross margin, which is a huge benefit if you want to build a long-term, really profitable company. And again, I put up the market opportunity that Magnus has already mentioned. The market out there is huge. Okay, so where do we see ourselves in the coming years? We've just finalized our mid-range plan, and we will kick off in building this SaaS organization right now at this moment. And the biggest investments will be made in sales and in building marketing. And that will have a quite quick effect on our revenues. But it will also come at a cost. So we will also, for the closest 2 years, see profitability go down when making these investments. But in year 2022, I think that is the year where the company really will take off, both sales-wise and profit-wise. So we now expect sales in 2022 to reach 100 million SEK, with a profit level bottom line of 20%. And by then, we truly can be classified as a Rule of 40 SaaS company. So for those of you who's not familiar with the Rule of 40, it's a common KPI that they use a lot in the US for measuring the trade-off between a quick growth while maintaining a profit. And you calculate it as adding your growth percentage of your revenue with your profitability percentage. And you should be above 40 when adding those two parameters together. Looking at American SaaS-listed companies, it is very clear that the most successful SaaS companies that are out there in the US, like Salesforce, Workday, Shopify, etc., they are well passing this Rule of 40 line. And I'm sure that if we would plot the same kind of chart for the Swedish SaaS customers, I'm sure quite many of them, if not passing, very close of passing the Rule of 40, like Lime, Fort Knox, and definitely in 22 Safeture will be one of these companies. Another aspect for the Rule of 40 is that there is a clear correlation between companies meeting Rule of 40 and the valuation of the company. And plotting the same American companies again, you can see that the revenue multiple of the companies passing Rule of 40 is double to the size of companies that is not passing the Rule of 40. We are there for our end clients, and that's the most important thing, to create value for our end clients, but we are also here to create good values for our shareholders and for our future investors.
Perfect. Big thanks, Linda. Both some words about the company and also our position in the market in this exciting industry. So to sum this up, I believe we are very well positioned to win this category with employee safety. We have the products, we have the infrastructure, and we're building the team to deliver on it. We are in a very interesting and fast-growing market segment. There is more and more dollars coming this way. They know that to maintain and retain and attract talents to companies, it's not just about the paycheck. We leave it to the taxman anyway, right? So it's about investing in other additional benefits. And caring for an employee is one of those aspects, and very, very important. And we have a scalable software as a service business model. With that said, with that said, let's take a social media break. And that means that feel free to pick up your phones, and that's the hashtags you want to use. You can add me on LinkedIn as well. I share a lot of stuff there, so it could be an idea if you're interested in the company to follow Safeture or me. Jesper.
Thank you, Magnus. We're running a little bit short on time, but I'll do a few questions, not all of them. First off, how do you go about transitioning a company which has been very heavily R&D and engineering focused towards a SaaS model, and how do you get the company on board with your plans?
Yeah, you mean except for all the frustration every day now? There's definitely things to do. I mean, I love the spirit of engineers because everything is possible. You can absolutely build anything in the world. And that is just a great thing. But it's also about trying to hold them back and say, well, maybe you can make it a bit nicer or cooler or look better, actually. And that's an everyday struggle to do that. And also to get the salespeople to understand what the packaging of the product is. Because it's one thing that they understand it, but it's about when you need to understand it. How should you present it for a customer? Is it the HR manager? Is it the security manager? The risk compliance manager? There are several stakeholders, and there's different messages to these different people. And it needs to be clear and very clear.
And last question, there was recently a takeover offer for Safeture by one of their majority owners. And how are you working with them and with their long-term plans? And do do they correlate with your plans, so to speak?
Yeah, that's right. We just had a takeover bid from Adma Group and Greg Dingshan for the company. They went over 30%, and they acquired another 30% of the company. So that means that we are livegna in the company, and they have a majority in the company. Right now, we're looking into that. But I can say they are really, really cool guys. I'm so happy to have a strong investor in the company that believes in us and believes in the plans of the company. And one thing for sure, I joined this company in order to set a strategy, not to inherit a strategy.
Thank you, Magnus and Linda, for coming here.
Thank you.
Tack.